You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I think it's Monday. It was advised to me that it was Monday. So here we are. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Heat, how's it going? We're gonna just go down the line here. Thank you everybody for being here. Sorry for being late. I was caught up doing stuff, but I didn't want to cancel the stream, so we just pushed it back. John Lithium, Derry Bennett, not my President's Day indeed. Welcome. Manju Misty, Bruno, live from Polymarket Studios. Michael Hassler, Pendulous Dragon. I like turtles, me too. Plus I farted, I did not do that. Kirkenstein's Monster, Nadia, welcome. Solidarity. Welcome everybody. Good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alien Night Owl, welcome. Ladybug, welcome. Yeah, I know, Nadia. Saris, welcome. Wait, what am I trying? Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. I feel like that's, I forgot who sings that song. Lee Spanner, welcome. Violet Quinlaw, welcome. Oh, Beastie Boys. Okay, this makes sense. Wait, is it Vanilla Ice or Beastie Boys? Because that feels like a It feels like a Beastie Boys song, but whatever. It could be that chat is correct. Vanilla Ice. That full Vanilla Ice. Not a big fan of Vanilla Ice. Big fan of the Beastie Boys, more so than Vanilla Ice. I have 3 ET Funko Pops. Akita's just going crazy in the studio, folks. Oh, my Bernie Funko Pop? You like my Bernie Funko Pop? Sorry to bring you the bad news, but war with Iran seems next. I hope not. I really hope not. I know that they've been threatening this for a while. Not sure how that's gonna play out with regards to this nuclear talks or whatever. I don't know. The guy's crazy. The guy's crazy. Sispian. Alright folks, we gotta get to steppin'. We gotta get to steppin'. Thank you all for being here. Again, sorry I was late. But I'm here, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Or at least a couple of things. At least a couple of things to talk about before we get on out of here. We'll see how much we get through. Given the time, but it's all good. Seven, welcome. The US has been almost every active carrier on the way there at the moment. That's not good. That's not good. We're talking about firing off nukes and being done with it. Dire but relatable. I mean, sure. Sure. Vanilla Ice is MAGA, so that isn't shocking. Really? He is? I mean, it tracks, right? I didn't know that, but it makes all the more sense why I don't really like him. Oh my god. England the combined stream, but Trump isn't my president because Merz is my Bundeskanzler. Alright folks, let's get started. Time to zoom on by. White mediocrity, baby. Never fails. You can put that, right, you can file that right next to, Kid Rock. I thought he was Jamaican, not American. Who? Vanilla Ice? Honestly? I thought he was, American. All this to cover up the Epstein files. Yeah, but I mean, we're still talking about it. There's still hearings about it. They have a helicarrier filing in as a aircraft carrier for the South China Sea as they move so many of the actual carriers. Yeesh. If that's true, that's pretty concerning. Oh, yes, please, folks, if you want to support the channel directly, check out the links and do the things. One nuke will lead to two, and it will be the end of what we know as humanity. Yes. Especially the Discord. Especially the Discord. Join the Discord. Nadia's birthday? What? Well, happy birthday. He is American. We don't claim him. With all the aircraft carriers just also conveniently one place, China has the opportunity to do the funniest thing in human history. I may be thinking of a different white rapper from Jamaica or Bahamas. Possibly. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty ignorant on that front. So y'all could have told me anything and I would have believed it. That's how little I pay attention to Vanilla Ice, and I'm from the 90s, okay? Allegedly, supposedly, okay? Allegedly. I have been informed that I am from the 90s, as it were. But yeah, I'm not. You could have told me anything, I would have probably believed it because I have no interest in Vanilla Ice or anything. Or any of his music. I'm 50. Well, happy birthday. You made it to 50. They just put a new commander on the Carl Vinson earlier in February, and I've seen satellite pictures, stat-light pictures of what looks like them taking out nuclear pile out of the Nimitz for decommission. Yeesh. My son was born in 93, close to my sister's age. Close to my sister's age. Alright, folks.
You had one job, was to redact our names, to respect our privacy, but yet you carefully took the time to redact all these powerful, rich men. I think we all realize.
Pam Bondi, once again, I'm reminding folks that Pam Bondi was the attorney general in Florida that also gave Jeffrey Epstein a pretty lenient, she was incredibly lenient and helped him out. Not to be confused with the prior attorney general, Alex Acosta, who gave him a sweetheart deal. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good for Gabby. Welcome. George Washington is forward deployed in Japan, but is technically under repair, but really could launch any time, and they just sent the forward from Caribbean over to Hormuz. I think I saw that one. But pretty concerning stuff. Not terribly surprised, but as typical, terribly disappointed. It could be snow, which might be easy to confuse with vanilla ice. I couldn't tell you, honestly. I saw her meltdown. It was embarrassing. Well, she's embarrassing, yeah.
Realize now, oh, you guys really wanted to silence us. And you thought that you could scare us by putting our names out there. And to be honest with you, we've been through worse.
There's a victim list that was released. It's called Victim List.
Client list.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and it had a list of victims.
It was shown, I think, a couple of times in the
Yeah.
hearing.
One was redacted. That makes no sense. This is a list of victims. That's intentional.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Like, just to be clear, again, the people that Donald Trump has put in charge and has put in his administration are all either involved or compromised because of their assistance in covering up. Trump's first attorney general during his first term, Trump 1.0, was Acosta, the same guy that gave Jeffrey Epstein that sweetheart deal where he basically got scot-free for, quote, soliciting prostitution from a minor, which is a wild crime because minors can't consent even if they were engaging in sex work, right? Like, they can't consent. That's not... The rule doesn't make any sense. The law doesn't make any sense. But anyways, snow versus ice is easy to confuse. True. Like I said, I'm very ignorant on that one. That's actually kind of funny that there is a rapper named Snow.
You just heard victims of Jeffrey Epstein not so subtly suggest that Pam Bondi's Department of Justice deliberately disclosed their names in order to intimidate them.
Yep.
Now, while it's possible that you could chalk it up to just
boot the like button,
stupidity or sloppiness, I think that they have a point. I think these women aren't crazy to think that this was done on purpose at the behest of powerful men who want nothing more than to silence their accusers.
Of course.
And the way that
like, just to be clear, like, of course, there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. There is no way, and I refuse to believe, okay, because I understand that these are very incompetent people and they're very stupid. But that isn't always the case, right? Like, yeah, these people are a bunch of clowns, but don't mistake. Don't underestimate that, right? I just want people to, like, realize, like, this is not... She knows what she's doing, okay? There's history here. There's history here between her and Jeffrey Epstein in Florida.
do that is by getting their names. So in disclosing their names, Pam Bondi or whoever made those redactions, they're helping these men go after their accusers. And the reason why this is a possibility is because the men who have been named in the Epstein files, like Alan Dershowitz, former attorney of Epstein, who's been named multiple times in the Epstein files, basically said out in the open that he has a right to know the name of his accuser.
Well, you look at this paper that has been reproduced and sent.
This guy's a piece of work, okay? This guy's a piece of work. Always has been. Every time this guy comes up, this dude's beyond reprehensible.
by the Justice Department. It's called prominent names. And it's a list of prominent
Yeah,
people.
this is Occam's razor explanation for the redactions. Yeah, I mean, like, again, these people, they may be clowns and they may be dumb, but make no mistake about it, this is intentional. Okay, this is intentional. 1000%. Everything that they're doing regarding the Epstein files is very intentional. There's history behind this. Make no mistake.
Who have been accused. Every single name of every accuser has been blacked out. So, for example, let's turn to me. It says blank, 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 blacked out, stated
Hey,
she gave
Nanju,
him a
hi from
massage on
YouTube.
Epstein's plane, parenthesis, not a minor. So let's understand that. This is an adult, a woman who was on Epstein's plane. She says, I was never on an Epstein plane with a young woman.
Right.
I never
Right.
got a massage. This is total defamation.
Yeah, okay, so sue, bro. If it's total defamation, sue. Make your case. Make your case. Okay, prove it, right? None of these people are going to take that to court because then evidence is going to have to be presented and that gets public. Most of all, their intention is to blame and publicly shame the victims. Yeah, because they want them silent. That is correct. That is correct, Bruno. They want all of this to go away expeditiously. They want all of this to go away because the cat's out of the bag. Okay, even if we don't get a single file, because there's still more that they haven't released. But even if we don't get a single more document, a single paper, that's enough. We've seen enough. Okay, we've seen enough. There is a there is a plethora of evidence that some really horrible stuff happened involving children on that island, and that Jeffrey Epstein and that all these powerful people, celebrities, politicians, all these powerful, rich, ultra-rich people are part of it, tangentially or directly.
A total lie, but I can't disprove it because they won't give me her
Right.
name. That's McCarthyism. Why?
Just to be clear, if it's such a total lie, then make your case. You don't need to know the victim's name to prove that you didn't do the things that you didn't do, because you had evidence to provide that, to counter that, right? Regardless of who it was. So that's this guy's telling on himself really bad right now. This guy telling on himself really bad, because if there was actual evidence that he did no wrongdoing, then you would just show that evidence and be done with it, regardless of who the victim was. They're complicit at the very best. Yeah, exactly. And not just like on the creepy, like really bad stuff that happened on the island, but like financial crimes too. if it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not one thing, it's another. Like Jeffrey Epstein was heavily involved in like financial stuff too. McCarthyism. Yeah, I know, the audacity of this man.
Accusations without the names of the accusers. For example, in my case, it's an adult woman.
Yeah, dirtbag.
We don't know whether she's a victim. We don't know whether she's a perpetrator. We don't know whether she's a co-conspirator.
That's not the point. The point would be, hey, show the evidence that you didn't do any of these accusations, right? Because the evidence shows that you were heavily involved in this ring. So now it's your turn to disprove that, because it seems to me like there's plenty of evidence that you and all your buddies went on over to Jeffrey's Island and did stuff. You know what I mean? It's if he wants to prove his innocence, he has to provide that evidence. He who makes the claim provides the evidence, right? Because so far, the evidence that we've seen from numerous victims is that all of these people involved, whether it be Trump, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, like all of these like prominent people, and their orbiters have been involved in a big ring involving trafficking children, among other things. So until you prove yourself otherwise, it sounds to me like there's a ton of evidence that you're involved, and it's pretty disgusting. And he's also telling on himself because, again, he could just show the evidence regardless of who the victims are, right? Like, it's wild. This guy's just telling on himself. He literally ran the same line to try to defend Bill Clinton when he was being investigated. Oof. 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 Some liars are lazy. No, he just has nothing. He just has nothing and knows he's cooked. That's the thing. Because this is probably the same reason that he tried the same line with Clinton, because he knew he was cooked. It's not laziness, it's just that lawyers, when they've got nothing, this is the fallback argument, you know? They said he never took off his underwear. That's super telling on himself. Welcome, Dan Anonymously. Like, wait a minute. What do you mean he never took off his underwear? Is he saying that he did like a Rudy Giuliani where he was approached? Yeah. Not a good look, Dershowitz.
Hide her name
So-
and produce the name of the people who are accused. That's guilt by accusation.
Nope.
That's guilt by association. It's McCarthyism. It's wrong. It's unconstitutional. It has to stop.
It's unconstitutional. Bro, nobody has gone after you, okay? Like, there isn't an active investigation into Alan Dershowitz, okay? Like, bro, this guy is super telling on himself. Is he cooked? I doubt he'll ever pay a substantial price. What I mean, maybe I should be more upfront. So what I meant is that he knows that he's lying. He knows that he's lying, and in the court of public opinion, meaning that like everybody can see that all of this is bullshit. He's just trying to fall back onto like whatever nonsense argument to try to distract. Because he knows he's lying. That's it. Whether or not something happens to him is doubtful. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say. He said he got a massage and kept his underwear on the whole time. Oh, like he actually said, oh no, dude, he's totally, this guy's absolutely a pedophile. 1000%. 1000% pedophile. Come on, guy, relax. Relax. Wasn't me because I have a medical condition. That means I don't sweat. Who said that? Was it him? Was it the same guy that said that? I remember that clip. His lawyer should tell him to shut it down. Honestly, he's done. Like, to me, this guy's certified. To me, certified pedophile, 1000%. The guy said, quote, he got a massage but never took his underwear off. Yeah, okay. Terry Taylor, him and his fair yellow teeth. What is the name of the evil scientist from Phineas and Ferb? I couldn't tell you. Oh, that was Prince Andrew. Oh. Formerly known as Prince Andrew. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I'm confusing the pedophiles. I'm sorry.
So he's
it just makes him sound more guilty. 1000%. 1000%.
implying that all of Epstein's potential co-conspirators are innocent victims of some McCarthyist witch hunt. Therefore, accusations against them are tantamount to defamation, possibly. And that is a really ironic claim for him, of all people, to make, given how he said this 6 years ago about one of Epstein's now deceased victims, Virginia Guffrey.
I can tell you she is still a prostitute. She is selling false stories now for money about me.
Do you have any concern?
That's so disgusting, man. That's so disgusting. That's so disgusting to like attack somebody like that. And to be fair, they're not different from each other. Yeah, not to be confused with Rudy, who's another creep, too.
calling her a prostitute when she was victimized at such a young age by this wealthy man.
She was not victimized. She made her own decisions in life.
Yeah, selling stories isn't prostitution. Yeah, but you got to make sure that you destroy the witness's credibility, and make her look as bad as possible in the public eye to make her look like, I don't know, some kind of social pariah, right? Because it has like this negative connotation to say, you know, oh, she's continuing to be a prostitute, meaning like at the time, again, presumably she was a minor, so that's not a thing, okay? You can't be a sex worker and a minor. You're being exploited, you're being trafficked, okay? Doesn't that make Dersh also a prostitute? Yeah, but let's the hypocrisy angle is not let's not talk too much about that. Yeah.
The age of 15, some would say that's a little young, and that she was taken advantage of.
Yeah. So just to be clear, again, as it was confirmed, because I couldn't remember, but as it was just confirmed, she was a minor. She couldn't have been a prostitute. Okay, she could not have been a sex worker. That's not a thing. Okay. That's not a thing. She was trafficked. Okay, the correct word is trafficked. She was trafficked.
Age of 19. Look, that's between her and the federal government and the people that she claims.
Girls trafficked, not victim. Once you turn 18, right? I mean, once you're once you're an adult, then yeah, I would say that you would be a sex worker. You'd just be a sex worker. But yeah, if you're a minor under the age, then yeah, you cannot be a sex worker. That's not how that works at all. And that kind of goes to the mindset of these people, right? The guy's referring to her, right? She was a prostitute then, and she's still a prostitute because she was selling lies about me, is what he said. The complete quote. Implying that, again, she was just a sex worker. She wasn't. She couldn't have been. Adults can also be trafficked. 100%. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's very true, chat. I'm just saying that she could not have been a sex worker at the age of 15. That's 100% true. Anyone can be trafficked. Kids can't give informed consent to leave school. They need parental consent, let alone, yeah, they cannot consent to, yeah, that's not a thing. These men to be deserved publicly shamed. Being publicly shamed should be the least of their worries, and I'm just gonna leave it at that before.
He called the victim of child rape a prostitute.
Yep.
That's the word he chose to go with.
Yeah, he's sick, man. He's sick, and he's telling on himself every time he does this, because it tells me that he knows that what he did was wrong, okay? He knows that people are catching on to what he did, so he's trying his best to flip the script, and paint her as a villain, and use as much negative words as possible, because he knows that what he did was disgusting.
Now, aside from that being just obviously disgusting, that seems like defamation to me. But Virginia Giuffre did end up suing Alan Dershowitz for defamation, not necessarily because of that comment, but he then countersued her in 2019 for intentional infliction of emotional distress over her accusation that Epstein had trafficked her to Dershowitz. And he implied,
infamously lacking in scruples, Alan Dershowitz,
once again, that it was some kind of anti-rich witch hunt. CNN reports Dershowitz alleges Giuffre and her lawyers targeted wealthy Epstein associates, including Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder and CEO of L Brands and owner of Victoria's Secret. According to the lawsuit, David
Shame is useless without the force of law. Yeah, I need these people in jail. I don't think it's gonna happen because of like statute of limitations and the fact that nobody's willing to prosecute these people or investigate them. But yeah, it's weird that one of genocide's strongest soldiers is also a pedophile apologist, a pedophilia apologist, and participant by all apparent credible evidence now available, or the opposite of weird. Very much expected and consistent. True. True. There's an email exchange between Epstein and Woody Allen talking about what a self-serving asshole Dershowitz is. Tracks. Right, it speaks to the mind of a rapist. A rapist would presumably dehumanize. What are we talking about on new? Victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
Was personally
Leslie also the owner of a college art museum.
Met with Wexner's lawyer in what Wexner's lawyer and wife both described as a shakedown. Fast forward to 2026, and we now know that Wexner has been named in the unredacted Epstein files as a co-conspirator.
Yep.
So in retrospect, Dershowitz was a bit hyperbolic, I guess we'll say, to call it a shakedown back then, just like he's a wee bit hyperbolic to say it's some form of new McCarthyism now. But in all fairness to Dershowitz, Virginia did drop the allegations against him in 2022 and said that she may have made a mistake in identifying him as the man that had sex with her 6 times. And earlier that year, she also reached a settlement with Prince Andrew. Now, that's not necessarily proof of innocence per se.
Yeah, like, the thing is, like, what gets me is because, like, you have to understand that, like, the way victims process trauma like this, it may be, first of all, it may be years. It may be years before anyone even comes forward, if at all. And the way, you know, the mind decides to defend, you know, yourself, by compartmentalizing, this type of trauma. Like, you may end up, like, saying, like, wait a minute, is this the guy that did it? Is it not? Like, it may be the case that she may have not realized who this was. The thing is what's really telling is Dershowitz's response to this, right? That's what's telling. That's what's telling me everything I need to know is his response and the way he's talking about the victims of a sex trafficking ring, okay, that he is accused of being a part of. Is there anyone who is not evil? No one in everyone in Trump's circle, everyone in the Epstein class, okay, is just like either a pedophile or pedophile protector. There's only 2 classes here with regards to, like, the Epstein stuff. They're your pedophiles, and then you're, like, financial criminals. And the Venn diagram between the financial criminals and the pedophiles are, like, almost 99% a circle, okay? Just to be clear.
Litigation is expensive, and powerful people have the resources to drag these things out, whereas people with less resources don't. And thus, the people with less power have an incentive to settle as soon as possible. Nobody knows for sure, though, to be clear regarding this case. Maybe she genuinely did make a mistake in identifying Alan Dershowitz. That could be true. Maybe Casey Tron really did violate Ethan Klein's copyright, and the hostage video that she was forced to release admitting it as part of their settlement was proof that Ethan Klein was right all along. Who's to say in these kinds of things, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that we have an unbalanced justice system where victory, more often than not, hinges on who has more money.
Yep.
That creates a power imbalance, and it's obviously a problem. And
everyone around Trump that he's put there has something on. Yeah.
Dershowitz will have to forgive me because I don't believe a word he fucking says, because something he said in that hysterical rant caught my eye.
I never got a massage.
He never had a massage, he says. Well, let's look at a different portion of that 6-year-old news report that we watched earlier where he called...
He needs to fill his soundboard with more goofy stuff. Yeah, I do. I've got, like, very little stuff. I gotta, like, fill up more.
Virginia prostitute.
Dershowitz did say he once received a massage at Epstein's mansion.
Uh-oh!
From an adult woman.
I kept my underwear on.
He kept his underwear on. Fantastic. This is exactly what y'all were talking about, chat.
Massage. I don't like massages particularly.
That's weird. I thought...
What? Wait a minute. Pause. 1 second. So the guy said that he doesn't even like massages, but he had one. And just to be clear, okay, just to be clear, he kept his underwear on, okay? Just to be clear. But he doesn't like massages. Okay. That tracks. Anna, welcome. Keeping underwear on and not liking massages makes everything better. Yeah, I mean, this is totally tracks. It wasn't a massage, it was a light tissue adjustment. I don't know if I said hello, but just in case, hello, Schmegley. What the F? He kept his underwear on? How stupid does this man have to be? Like, he's only telling on himself 1000%. Like 1000%. Like, first of all, like, it was an adult woman. Okay, just to be clear, guys, it was an adult woman. I don't even like massages. Okay, and wait. And just to be clear, I kept my underwear on. Bro, are you serious right now? Oof. There isn't enough red thread on the planet, okay, to create the red flag necessary for this man, for this entire cabal of pedophiles, okay? There isn't enough red thread on the planet to create the red flag necessary, okay? I'm so relieved Durst didn't even enjoy his underwear massage, right? That apparently, yeah, sure. Yeah, it wasn't even my idea. Oh my god.
That he said he never had a massage. Huh. Interesting. Now, look, it's possible that he meant he's never gotten a massage from an underage girl, but it still feels like he's kind of moving the goalposts. But the point in going down the Alan Dershowitz rabbit hole is to highlight why the DOJ and or the FBI might have had a reason to release
scrub my ears clean. I wish I could. Honestly, like the stuff that I've been hearing about the Epstein files and like all the disgusting stuff that I will not repeat and stream to just kind of keep it moving, but I think we all know it is enough to it's enough. I don't need any more Epstein files. I don't think we need any more Epstein files to know what happened here. I think it's pretty safe to say that there is a massive trafficking ring involving children and adults too. There is victims that were not children, but yeah, and there is a plethora of powerful people and orbiters that were involved, and it seems to me that very little consequences, if at all, have been doled out and will be doled out. That's pretty much the beginning and end of that Jeffrey Epstein story, right? It's just we're being, the planet is being run essentially by a cabal of pedophiles, and that have been emboldened because they're so powerful, because they've amassed so much wealth collectively that, like, basically they can't be touched, essentially. Or at least that's what they think. And to an extent, they are kind of right? There's been no consequences so far. Yeah, so you undressed to your underwear? Yeah, he undressed to his underwear, but he doesn't like massages, but then he says years later he didn't have a massage. All of this is just red flags. What exactly do you think Epstein had on Lex that was bad enough to get him to sign over a power of attorney? Probably the same thing that he had over every other wealthy person, right? Video or picture or knowledge of him doing something regarding children. Hey, Latino Mifun, welcome. I've had enough today, I'm out. I feel that. I completely understand.
Their names to the public in the first place. Presumably, releasing the victims' names allows powerful men that they're trying to protect to go after the victims with frivolous...
Trust me, I completely understand that.
...defamation lawsuits that influences them to shut the fuck up. And to go back to Virginia Giuffre in particular, she was one of Jeffrey Epstein's most outspoken victims who reportedly died by suicide back in 2025, even though she emphatically stated in a 2019 tweet, quote, "I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me for the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted." On top of that, her father said that there's no way she committed suicide, and her attorney called for an investigation into her death, although her attorney...
I prefer click over cabal to dodge the implications of cabal regarding Judaism. I like that. I like that. I like that. Click or the Epstein class or the Epstein click. Yeah, I'm gonna that's a good one. I like that. We definitely can't afford these billionaires. I agree.
Later clarified that they weren't trying to insinuate that her death was suspicious. But even if there isn't enough evidence to support the worst possible conclusion in Guthrie's case, still, they may face harassment and intimidation from powerful men who want to ruin them and silence them, hence why you have to protect their identities.
Yep.
Having said that, we may never learn the truth about what happened to Guthrie and other Epstein victims because the Justice Department is going out of their way to protect the elites who were implicated in these crimes. And Representative Ted Lieu brought up one of the unresolved...
Glad to be here, even though the topic is way past cringe. Oh, this entire, like, politique from top to bottom is cringed.
cases that is just sitting on Pam Bondi's desk.
I like that.
She's doing nothing about. And you're going to see her perjure herself here as well. Just take a look at this clip. This clip has a lot going on, but we'll unpack it when we come back. This is fucking insane to me.
Former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party?
Ah, the more you know. I didn't know that. Kabbalah and Cabal come from the same Hebrew word. Huh. The Epstein Slave Trade Association, exactly.
Or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous.
What? I could not, like, I've seen clips of this hearing, but, like, honestly, I didn't expect, like, Pam Bondi to give us anything, but I've seen a few, and her contempt and her inability to face the victims is quite telling. This is the real reason we come here, for Nadia to teach us some obscure ass shit. True. Heard of the Chinese warlord states after Sun Yat-sen? No.
And that they are trying to deflect from
It was bad.
all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This is
Well, the thing is, like, okay, so this is a common talking point that I keep hearing. This is a common talking point that I keep seeing from, especially from MAGA, is that, well, Donald Trump hasn't been accused of any crime, so therefore, well, no. The case that we're reading was about Jeffrey Epstein. Right, the case that we're reading about is Jeffrey Epstein, and the accusation and conviction that we're discussing is Jeffrey Epstein trafficking children to powerful people. So to prove that, okay, we need to know, or the prosecution, or, you know, needed to prove who he was trafficking those victims to, okay? And that's the Epstein list, okay? And among those people is Donald Trump, the former Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, all of these powerful people, right? That's the case, okay? Because, like, from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they weren't investigating Donald Trump for a crime, possibly because of statute of limitations. They were trying to build the case against Jeffrey Epstein trafficking minors. And to prove that, you have to prove who they were trafficking those minors to. That's the Epstein list, okay? Hey, sick puppy. She's responding like Trump's personal lawyer. She's a public servant. Yep. Because she is Trump's personal lawyer, effectively, right? Like, the Attorney General right now, the Attorney General's job right now is to be Trump's personal lawyer.
has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock. Stop the clock.
The legislation. This is
time. Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a...
Oh! I mean, this straight to jail.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness.
Yeah. Gaius, welcome. Cutter effing Mike with the F. The vast majority of the data seized as evidence wasn't textual, but rather video recordings. Yes, they're video recordings. Yes. An uncomfortable amount of, yeah. Anyways, no one feels entitled to lying and not being called out for it, because she won't be. Yep. Bondi is angling for a future pardon. I hope you're well. I'm hanging in there. Hey, Sick Puppy, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you. We've been live for over an hour? No. Thank you, appreciate it. Well, actually, we're just about to hit the hour. We're just about to hit the hour.
You need to interview this witness immediately.
My God, so there's a lot that happened in that clip, but let's just pick it apart.
Appreciate that, Sick Puppy. Guys, I'm still trucking, thank
piece
goodness.
by piece. First, a lawmaker just sounded the alarm before the entire country about a potential victim who had her head blown off after she accused Trump and Epstein of rape. And even though officers at the scene said there's no way that would have been a suicide, there was never an investigation. Not to mention, the Attorney General knows about this potential crime, but is choosing to not investigate this potential crime. In fact, she's deflecting from Trump's potential criminality, ironically, by accusing everyone else who wants the president to be investigated of deflecting from all of the good that he's done. So, like, if she's willing to perjure herself...
Yeah, so, like, again, like, the thing is, like, what gets me, what gets me is that like she's refusing to actually engage with the question. So that's all I need to know. Everything past like, oh, but we can't talk about like the president's achievements, right? Yeah, okay. That tells me everything I need to know. She's lying, and she's running cover for pedophiles. Okay, she's running cover for the pedophile administration.
In order to shield powerful men from accountability, the question is, what else is she willing to do? It goes back to the claim from Epstein's victims that their names were unredacted on purpose. I agree with them. But Pam Bondi is also doing other conspicuous things that leads me to think that she's actively trying to stop lawmakers from getting to the truth at the behest of powerful men. Because during that same testimony, Robert Schmidt of Getty snapped this picture, and you can see that Pam Bondi had printed out Pramila Jayapal's search history from when she was looking through the unredacted Epstein files at the DOJ's computers. And this confirms...
Hello. Refresh, folks. Refresh. Are we still good? Oh, connection successful. All right, we're good. Yes, refresh, folks. Okay, we're good. Anyway, so Pam Bondi, yeah, all of them. I don't know if we'll ever see any type of justice. It is unlikely that we'll see, unless something drastically changes. It is unlikely that we'll ever see any type of justice. But yeah, absolutely, she should be charged. We're good? Okay. Yeah, they were tracking them to see what they found. Yep. Because they know this whole thing is there. They know all of this happened. They know that the jig is up, right? They know that the jig is up. In most countries, the Attorney General is an independent body separated from the executive branch to avoid this. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. We suck. We suck, Bruno. I use man wipes for freshness.
Jayapal, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have confirmed that the same thing happened to them when they were looking through the unredacted Epstein files at the DOJ.
You know if Congresswoman Jayapal was the only person?
We have reason to believe that it was happening to everybody who went over there, that they were monitoring everybody's computer searches.
I'm pretty tech savvy. I played around with the system. They are tracking every file that we open. And when we open it, they're tracking everything. And you can see the way that they're tracking you.
Yeah, so they know they're cooked, folks. They know. They know that this whole thing happened. They know that the people they're protecting did the things that they're being accused of. Like, it's pretty clear to me, right? It's pretty clear to me.
You're logged in if you know where to look, like I do.
Really?
So they give each of us a login with their name attached to it, and every single file that we open, regardless of if we even read it, every single file that we open, that file is tagged with our name.
Read hacker
So they
Nancy
get the
Mace.
search history and the files that we opened. Everything.
So the Department of Justice is literally surveilling lawmakers when they access the unredacted Epstein files.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Innocent people, huh? Very innocent people. Heat coming in hot with 100 biddies. 101 biddies. Look at that. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. Heck yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because they're not guilty in any way. They just really want to know what you found. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. What and in what order? Yep. It's kind of like how a guilty child goes up to their parents and asks them like, "Hey, so what do you know about whatever the heck?" And then like really what they're doing is actually telling on themselves, and that's exactly how they got caught. Yeah, that's what's happening here. I wonder what Nancy's angle is. Is she actually being principled? No, none of this actually involves being principled. She's not. That's not what this is about. Perhaps she's a true believer of like the QAnon conspiracy, and she thinks that in the sense that like she thinks that she's still on the force of good, and that she believes that she can somehow champion that. But principles, nah, no principles here. Running for governor. Well, okay, there you go. There might be another explanation right there. Or how they try to follow you into the room to see if you see where they hid it. Exactly.
Why? Nobody knows. Maybe they're trying to make sure members of Congress
was created by Epstein. Yep.
Don't discover any threads that lead back to Trump or other powerful people who may be associated with Trump. Maybe they're colluding with these powerful people. Maybe it's just that they're super nosy and they want to see what they're looking at. Nobody knows. But based on what we've seen, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that it's part of their ongoing effort to stop us from getting closer to the truth. And Jayapal is now calling for an investigation, rightfully so, because this is obviously unacceptable, if not outright illegal.
Mike Johnson did say publicly that he thought it was unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a farce in the sense that, like, some of it was fake, but like the underlying the underlying premise of the quote unquote QAnon conspiracy was true. There is a clique of rich powerful pedophiles. That's completely true. Obviously the conspiracy theory part is that like Donald Trump and all this like JFK coming back to life, all of that is obviously nonsense. But the underlying premise of QAnon, of this pedophile clique, is true.
Republicans have said that they don't think it's appropriate. I've come to not expect anything from this Republican Party, frankly, but I would hope
right.
that
They were
many of the
claiming it was woke
Republicans that I've
liberals, right, and that Donald Trump was Q. He was gonna come and save that whatever. Like, yeah. All that all is obviously nonsense. But like the underlying premise of a clique of pedophile, billionaire, powerful people, yeah, that's totally true.
Worked with on surveillance and privacy issues, on FISA, on so many other things, would speak up and say this is absolutely inappropriate. It has to stop. And the Department of Justice has to be held accountable. We need an investigation. What information did they collect? Why were they collecting it? How were they going to use it? Why was it in her binder? These are all questions that the American people deserve to have answered.
Yeah, so something very ominous is happening. We're witnessing the Department of Justice and the FBI engage in a cover-up so blatant that they're willing to break the law and perjure themselves in front of all of us.
Yeah, because they think that there's going to be no consequences. That's why they're doing it. They're rolling the dice here and saying, well, there haven't been any consequences thus far, so nothing's happening to us. Full speed ahead. Like the orders for getting the boards in the halls have always creaked. Yep. I assumed it's to get them ahead of the press. This person saw XYZ and searched this and this. Crap, we need to spin that ASAP. That way the Congress member talks, they know what it's about first. I mean, yeah, but it's just creepy, right? It's just creepy.
Just to stop
They know this whole thing is cooked. They know that the truth is already basically out there. They can't put that genie back in the bottle. It's essentially what's happening here. What did Christopher Bull and his dad know? They were behind 4chan. Also, didn't like Epstein have a hand in that too? Epstein had a hand in that.
Truth from getting out, which begs the question, what else and who else is in those files? Even lawmakers seem worried about naming names that they're seeing, because what they're seeing are the names of the most powerful people in the world who have more power and wealth than them. And this was confirmed again by Nancy Mace. You know, not necessarily the most credible person. Nonetheless, what she says here is obviously reasonable.
You would be shocked, Pierce, that some of the names that I have seen that came across the DOJ.
Like at this point, like you can just kind of like assume that anyone who's like a powerful billionaire is effectively involved in this clique in one way, shape, or another until proven otherwise. If you're incredibly wealthy and powerful, then it's safe to assume that you probably had some kind of involvement in this thing in one way, shape, or another.
Emails that the DOJ is protecting. And we're talking about people on both sides of the aisle. We're talking about famous people, rich people, people in power, prime ministers, former presidents, etc., media personalities that are named in these files. And that's why I say this is going to go down as the greatest cover-up, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history.
The thing is, like, I would say, just name them all. Name them all. What are we waiting for? If she's seen them, then name them. Start naming names. Or we're just gonna assume that every rich, powerful person that's incredibly wealthy is just part of it.
And I don't believe the girls are actually going to see justice, which is why it's going to be incumbent upon people like Democrat Ro Khanna, Republican Thomas Massie. I'm a Republican myself who's willing to name some of those names in our committee work, on the floor of the House, whatever it takes, because this kind of thing cannot continue to go on.
Now, if you're wondering why she won't just name names right there, it goes back to the conversation that we had at the beginning of this video. She could open herself up to defamation lawsuits, but the reason why she said that it needs to be brought to the House floor is because members of Congress actually have immunity from defamation for anything that they say on the House floor. It's why both Ro Khanna and Massie didn't say anything to reporters after they discovered the names of the 6 co-conspirators. They were saying, hey, we found 6 names, but they waited until they were on the House floor to say,
never mind, this makes sense,
those names, because they're presumably dealing with even more people who are far more powerful than the names that they've already discovered, so they cannot speak until they have at least some form of protection. But I will say that the silver lining is that the people at the DOJ and FBI who are responsible for the cover-up might be some of the stupidest people in the world, because Pam Bondi's unhinged testimony on Wednesday was such a bad look that even Republicans criticized her for it. And it was so embarrassing that Trump had to release this long-ass post on Truth Social defending her performance as fantastic when everybody knows that it was a fucking shit show. But it doesn't matter that everyone else who watched it thought that she made a fool of herself, or that it might even end in her impeachment when Democrats take back. But it doesn't matter that everyone else who watched it thought that she made.
This is wild. This is just like unhinged stuff here. Unhinged stuff. Look at this. Unhinged stuff. AG Pam Bondi under intense fire from the Trump-deranged radical left lunatics, the Democrats, was fantastic at yesterday's hearing on the never-ending saga of Jeffrey Epstein. The never-ending saga of Jeffrey Epstein. Just to be clear, the never-ending saga meaning the recently revealed, or not revealed, but confirmed clique of pedophiles that you're a part of, Donald J. Trump. That never-ending saga, where the one thing that has been proven conclusively, much to their chagrin, was that President Donald J. Trump has been 100% exonerated of the ridiculous Russia type charges. What? No, he hasn't. He has been repeatedly implicated, time and time again, with different victims. Actually, it is the slimeball Democrats, many of them big donors, and politicians that have been proven guilty. Okay. Republican, loser, sanctimonious rhino Congressman Thomas Massie made a total fool of himself yesterday, fighting aimlessly against a hopeless agenda of hate and stupidity. Yeah, the hate and stupidity is just trying to find the truth about what exactly happened in this pedophile clique here. Nobody cared about Epstein when he was alive. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. There's an entire controversy about how the cases were being handled from 2008 until recent, okay? Until 2019 when he quote unquote killed himself, right? Presumably. So no, that's obviously not this guy 100% is like number one. This dude's definitely a pedophile, 1000%. When they only cared about him when they thought they could create political harm to a very popular president who has brought our country back from the brink of extinction, yada yada yada. Thank you for your attention to this matter. First, how dare people be disgusted by pedophilia? For a second, I misheard Carlson for thought Trump called her aging Pam Bondi. Oof, that's rough, man. He's
a fool of herself, or that it might even end in her impeachment when Democrats take back the House. All that matters is that she did exactly what was expected of her for the audience of one that she was performing for, Donald J. Trump. She'll happily apply the clown makeup and perjure herself in front of the world and permanently tarnish her own reputation just to shield that man from accountability.
Yeah, normal people don't talk like this.
It's not like her reputation wasn't already tarnished before due to corruption and just general buffoonery, but she used to actually pride herself at one point on being tough on human traffickers, only to now be at the center of
which she never was, because she helped Jeffrey Epstein. Weak sauce. What the F does Russia exoneration have to do with anything? Well, no, he's saying it's really hard to follow because he rambles like a lunatic. But what he's saying is that the charges of him being a pedophile are a hoax, much like the charges of the whole Russia investigation were a hoax, even though that actually led to several cases, but whatever. So yeah, he's just telling on himself again. Like the U.S. government was allowing him to negotiate regime change operations in major countries after the 2007 case. Yep.
One of the biggest human trafficking cover-ups in American history. Like, just look at one of the ads that she ran before.
Florida ranks third nationally in calls for help for human trafficking, where young women and children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck. Businesses and hospitals to spot it, our great law enforcement to stop it, and tougher penalties to punish it. We're taking on Medicaid fraud, pill mills, gangs, and more, and I'll fight to put human trafficking monsters where they belong, behind bars.
Well, that aged like milk. It'd be nice to have that version of Pam Bondi these days, but instead she's doing everything that she can to keep human trafficking monsters from being put behind bars. What a disgrace. It just feels like this is a joke to them. And it proves that we have a two-tier justice
system. Because it is. At the same time, nobody has suffered any consequences. So to them, it is. It is. Jesus' commercials on TV now. I think that was previous. One of her previous campaigns. It's a perfect phone call. Black is white, insane is insane, war is peace, and Trump is a great leader. Welcome, JK.
This country where
appreciate that
most heinous sex crimes and even crimes against humanity are effectively decriminalized if you
2014
have money and power. Meanwhile, if you get caught smoking weed in certain states, they'll throw the book at you. It's just so ridiculous. This isn't a legal system. It's a failed state where a cabal of pedophile elites run the country like the fucking mafia.
Yep. It's like a group of people that have always avoided consequences. Yep. Anyone that has power, essentially. Like what this is just power, right? And that kind of manifests itself in wealth, right? Because that's the system that we live in. We live under capitalism, and the people that have amassed this amount of wealth are effectively like untouchable in a way. Yeah, that's why they seem so childish and dumb in their cover up. Yeah, they don't. They don't need to. I mean, they don't need to. Oh yeah, I barely watch TV. Soul Life. But I completely understand. That's basically like all the ads. Following up on this story, we've got a couple of stories. I don't know how much time we have, but we'll just run through this quickly. NAACP asked judge to protect against misuse of voter data seized by the FBI in Georgia's Fulton County. As previously we talked about, the FBI raided this warehouse to obtain personal voter information. To try to prove this nonsense that the 2020 election was rigged against Donald Trump. That never happened. Georgia residents entrusted the state with their sensitive personal information when they registered to vote, and the January 28 seizure of ballots and other election documents from the Fulton County Election Hub breached that guarantee, infringed on a constitutional protection of privacy, and interfered with the right to vote, the organization said in a filed motion on Sunday. The motion asked the judge to order reasonable limits on the government's use of the seized data and prohibit the government from using the data for purposes other than the criminal investigation cited in the search warrant affidavit. That includes prohibiting any efforts to use it for voter roll maintenance, election administration, or immigration enforcement. They also want the judge to order that the government disclose any inventory of all documents and records seized, the identity of anyone who has accessed the records outside of those involved in the criminal investigation, any copying of the records, and all efforts to secure the information. So late for that, NAACP. There's also the fact that Trump administration is craven and unlikely to obey laws. I mean, that's true. That's true. The Department of Justice did not immediately respond to requests for comment. We know that. FBI agents arrived at the election hub just south of Atlanta with a search warrant seeking documents related to the 2020 election in Fulton County, including all ballots, tabulatory tapes from the scanners that they tally the votes, electronic ballot images created when the ballots are counted and recounted, and all the voter rolls. The county has filed a motion seeking the return of those seized materials. President Trump is fixated on Fulton, a Democratic stronghold and the most populous county in the state, asserting without evidence that widespread voter fraud there cost him the victory. Yeah, not a thing that happened. That just didn't happen. An FBI agent's affidavit presented to the magistrate judge to obtain the warrant said the criminal investigation began with the referral from Kurt Olsen, who advised Trump as he tried to overturn the 2020 election loss and now serves as Trump's director of election security and integrity with a mission to investigate Trump's loss. Fantastic. We went over this. This is a bunch of election deniers. The motion was filed by the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law on behalf of the NAACP, Georgia and Atlanta NAACP organizations, and Georgia Coalition for People's Agenda. It notes that the seizure happened as the Justice Department has been seeking unredacted state voter registration rolls. The Justice Department has sued at least 23 states and the D.C. to try to get them to hand over the detailed voter information. The agency said it's seeking the data as part of an effort to ensure election security, but Democratic officials and other critics worry that the federal officials want to use the sensitive data for other purposes, which obviously, yeah. I gotta go. Please take care, all. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. By the way, AI can easily tamper with large number. Thank you so much, Heat, and thank you for your support. Appreciate it. Hey, folks, please also feel free to go and follow our wonderful mod Heat as well. And do they have backups of the originals? They have the paper ballots. Yes, they have the paper ballots. These repeated efforts to access the 2020 election records, including by the entity that now has custody of them, heightens concern about the privacy and security of the sensitive data and exacerbates the chill on voting rights. Yeah, so we're going to definitely be following this story and keeping an eye on it. Thank you, my stream went well yesterday. Heck yeah, please go follow. Please go follow. That is awesome. A judge has ordered the restoration of Philadelphia slavery exhibits after the Trump administration has taken it off. So that's cool. That's it. So if we had any doubts, okay, if we had any doubts, a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to restore the slavery-related exhibits at National Park site on the foundation of former President George Washington's home in Philadelphia. In a withering opinion, Judge Cynthia Rife invoked George Orwell's dystopian novel of 1984, saying that the administration had attacked the concept of truth itself, obviously because it is a fascist administration, as it sought to erase details of America's legacy of slavery. She said the removal of these exhibits in January papered over Washington's ownership of slaves and the special measures he took to avoid the enslaved persons gaining their liberty while he lived in Philadelphia from 1790 to 1797. Yep. The government here likewise asserts truth is no longer self-evident, but rather the property of the elected chief magistrate and his appointee and delegates. The George W. Bush appointee wrote, and why? Solely because it has defended states, it has the power. An agency cannot arbitrarily decide what is true, and based on its own whims or the whims of new leadership. True. So anyways, I'm just gonna summarize this. They tried to take away a slavery exhibition on George Washington's house, and now they are being they are being forced to put it back. Unfortunately, for Trump, this is some Nazi shit right here, folks. This is some Nazi shit, really, because like this is exactly how like fascism operates. This is exactly how Nazism operates. You just hand them a gold, preferably with his name on it, that you can wear or have on display. Trump's order called for public monuments to be, quote, uplifting. He also took aim at displays that depict the U.S. as inherently racist, sexist, oppressive, or otherwise irredeemably flawed. Such exhibits foster a, quote, sense of national shame, Trump complained. Well, they should. They should. What are you talking about? Our history is inherently extremely racist, sexist, oppressive, and in my opinion, irredeemable. The stuff that we did, we, quote, we meaning the country of the United States, have done is irredeemable. What we did with the slave trade, what we did with the genocide of the indigenous population, what we did with foreign policy in the global south, what we did with foreign policy in the Middle East that resulted in 1 million people being dead, killed, murdered by us. Yeah, it's all part of where we, of what this country was founded on, of what this country was founded on. Gotta bounce around. Those are some dumbbells with my name on them. Well, appreciate that, Kirkenstein's monster. Appreciate that. What's funnily exactly the whiners like Trump that make it so, just racists that want to have their racist cake and eat it too. Yep. That's right. Every accusation is an admission of guilt. So yeah, this is exactly this is fascist logic right here. 100%. We got one more. Yeah, I'll get the clique of pedophiles. Yep. Trump has been proven, himself has proven to be a huge racist. 1000%. He is. So this is cool. The SAVE Act has passed the House. If you don't know what the SAVE Act is, I highly recommend you look into it. It's a overhaul on how voting is going to function or not function. And apparently Trump thinks that he can do an executive order if this horrible bill, the SAVE Act, manages to stall in the Senate. I really wish I could get rid of this video. Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, okay. President Trump on Friday indicated that he will issue an executive order seeking to require voters to present proof of citizenship if the Senate does not pass the SAVE Act, which passed the House this week. There will be voter ID for midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Again, a thing that he cannot do. Also, the people of our country are insisting on citizenship and no mail-in ballots, with the exception of military, disability, illness, or travel. Yeah, okay. This country is so racist we had a civil war to free the slaves. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Europe send over the conquistadors in Spain? They did. I heard that ICE agents are going to be deployed at midterm polling stations to stop brown people from voting. Supposedly. That's what Steve Bannon said, but I don't know. Which party was in favor of the slaves? Oh yeah, the Democrats, and then they switched places. Which party is flying the Confederate flag now? Which party is flying the Confederate flag now? You absolute clown. Which party is flying the Confederate flag now? I don't understand why adults can't have speech impediments. You can't fix your lisp, and you know that, right? Is that your argument? Is that your argument, that you have a problem understanding me? Answer me this. Which party flies the Confederate flag now? Which party flies the Confederate flag now? Which party fought for Confederate statues to be left alone? Statues that were placed as intimidation tactics. My argument here is that you're lazy and you don't do things that adults should do. As a responsible commentator, your speech is #1 priority. Answer the question. you moron. Answer the question. Which party flies the Confederate flag now? Mumbo Senior? Alright, pedophile defender. Got you. Pedophile defender found in chat. Why can't we ever get those people in chat on YouTube? It's because they were banned on Twitch, that's why. Which party has a more right-leaning party during the Civil War? Wasn't the Republicans? Right would answer a single question, honestly. Difficulty impossible. Yep. 1000%. Hey, No Justice Raid. Thank you so much for bringing your wonderful folks over. I appreciate it. I think No Justice Raid on YouTube. Senator Slotkin said it was today that Trump is going to do what Bannon said. Eesh. Gotta pay attention to that. It's amazing these people can still justify their own existence themselves mentally. Like, how do you still believe in any of that? It's because they're being dishonest trolls. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's just dishonest trolls. That's why they can't or refuse to answer the question, because they know the answer is obviously that, like, it's the Republicans who are the Confederates now, right? Okay, like during the Civil War with the Dixiecrats, like obviously the Dixiecrats were the bad ones, right? Like, we know this. There's historical context here. And then the Southern strategy happened. And now those same people who were Dixiecrats back then are just Republicans, because as Antifa Vegan points out, the Republicans became super racist to try to win over the South. I think pedo lover has a more visceral impact as an insult than pedo defender. I mean, it's just probably. I mean, but look, if you can't answer a simple question because you want to defend Republicans, then yeah, you're just a pedo. You're just a pedo lover. That's it. Being an adult is about taking responsibility for actually in your power any amount at all. Like, what are we even doing? Deflecting the question. That's why they deflecting the question. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. Was that Theo or Salmon's Reddit out? No, it's a troll from Twitch. Yeah, pedo glazers. There you go. It's a troll from Twitch. I know their username. It's a troll from Twitch because they're banned there. I'm pretty sure I've banned them like over 9,000 times. They just keep stepping into the wrong stream. He followed up with the with a second post 30 minutes later, floating an executive order. This is an issue that must be fought and must be fought now. Trump wrote it in a lengthy post on Truth Social. If we can't get it through Congress, there are legal reasons why the scam is not permitted. I will present them shortly in the form of an executive order, which he cannot. Dude needs to get a life rather than create endless accounts to harass. Yeah, like, it's funny because, like, the account that they're harassing, like, a small streamer who doesn't even care. That's the thing. Like, it's just banning. It's just ban and move on, right? Once again, thank you to No Justice MTG for bringing your wonderful folks over. Please, if you're on Twitch or if you're on YouTube, that is No Justice MTG. She's on both Twitch and on Twitter. On Twitch and Twitter. No, she's both on Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, please feel free to post it on Discord. It is kind of sus how much leisure time they have with all the prevailing wage slavery going on. I mean, because they're losers. These people are like edgelords that sit around and do nothing else. Nothing else. That's it. Like, imagine having that much dedication to a channel like mine. I mean, hey, you know, at least they're supporting me with their eyeballs, right? At least they're supporting me with views, so I appreciate that. He accused Democrats of being, quote, horrible, disingenuous cheaters who have all sorts of reasons why it shouldn't be passed, but then boldly laugh in the back rooms after the ridiculous presentations. Republicans must put this at the top of every speech. It is a can't miss for re-election in midterms and beyond, he continued. Even Democrat voters agree 85% there should be voter ID. I don't know about that. I have zero trust in that statistic. It's safe to say that this is probably bullshit. Anyways, so what he's saying is that they're scared about the midterms, and this is the administration acting out on this. The SAVE Act passed the House on Wednesday in a 218 to 213 vote. However, it faces an uncertain path in the Senate, where the only Democrat to indicate support for the legislation is, of course, can't find a Fetterman. And Lisa Murkowski has come out against the bill. Conservatives are pushing Senate Republicans for to use the talking filibuster with hopes of wearing down Democratic opposition. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said his caucus will discuss the move, but hasn't committed to deploying the tactic, which could tie up the Senate floor for weeks and set an important precedent. Thune said he worries that a weeks-long Senate floor debate on the SAVE Act would block Republicans from moving forward on other priorities such as housing reform, market structure reforming, and permitting reform, a highway bill, and a farm bill. The president has to bring every possible weapon. He has to fight this fight to get to the Senate to move, because the Senate will not move without incredible crushing measure, said Keith Self. Yeah, okay. The measure has only lost support from Democrats as Republicans have pushed harder for it. The only Democrat, Representative Henry Cuellar, of course, voted for the SAVE Act. Representatives Ed Case and Jarrett Golden and Marie Gluesenkamp voted for a previous version, opposed the latest bill. Previous versions of the legislation did not include voter ID requirements, which says mail-in ballots should be submitted with a photocopy of state-issued ID or an affidavit swearing they're unable to obtain a copy of a valid ID along with the last four of the SSN. Murkowski has warned that new federal requirements on local election officials could hurt the integrity of the November midterm elections. That's the point. That's the point. MTG No Justice always raids to some quality channels I found left of the box through an MTG raid too. Nice! Hey, big fan. Hey, have you stopped by this space, Antifa Vegan Boy? I'm pretty sure you've been on this space, chat. I'm a big fan of Sandy, left of the box. So that's really cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate No Justice spreading the love around the community. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Thank you. Election days fast approaching, she said in a statement shared on Twitter. Imposing new federal requirements now when states are deep into their preparations would negatively impact election integrity by design, by forcing election officials to scramble to adhere to new policies likely without the necessary resources. Again, by design. Ensuring public trust in our elections is at the core of our democracy, but federal overreach is not how we achieve this. Yeah. So pay attention to this, folks. We will be keeping track of this. Of how this plays out. Am I allowed to tell people about this space here? Nope. No, I'm just kidding. Of course. Of course. Of course. I'm pretty sure that most of the time I shout out this space anyways. In fact, I even have a command for it. It only works on Twitch, but yeah, if you type in this space like that, it works like that. It only works if you type it through Twitch though, but it's there. It's there. Big fan. And also this space is linked in the channel video. So even if you don't catch it live, there is a link to this space on the VOD, or there should be a link to this space on the VOD. But yeah, absolutely. I think Carlos is on there. Sometimes I don't know so many channels. The space you should be using in the remaining days for me to play Animal Crossing. I think about it. Alright, folks. it's time for me to get out of here. It is just about 7:20. We managed to get through all the headlines, I think. All the important ones that I wanted to talk about, folks. Thank you all for being here. Once again, huge shout out to No Justice for bringing all you wonderful folks here. Folks, if you're on the YouTube and you haven't done so, please, there's a link right there. Check out this space. Check out this space and go subscribe there. I have a birthday stream ongoing. Oh, is it on Twitch? Please shout yourself out. I got you, Nadia. 1 second. 1 second, I got you. Let me shout you out, and then we'll go over to your channel. Please, hey folks, if you're here on Twitch, please say happy birthday to Nadia, a regular here on A Difficult Truth. Please, and we're gonna head out in just a moment. Sandy, come on over to Nadia's Twitch for her birthday. Yeah, heck yeah, that's where we're gonna go. Please. Go show some love and go show some support to Nadia. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all being here. Make sure you check your Discord private message. I sent you something. Okie dokie, I'll be right there. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Sandy, for hanging out. Appreciate it. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you all, folks. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all the biddies and the subs. Thank you. If you want to support the channel directly, check out all the stuff. As always, folks, check out the merch store, check out the Discord, and check out the Substack. Check out my channel on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I'll be on. Hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow at 7 p.m. on this space. Thank you all. Appreciate it. I'll listen to your so calm. Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. I'll be on. Hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow. See ya. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.